All right, let's dive into this fascinating world of prompt engineering. All this buzz about AI running poems and translating languages, even composing music. Well, prompt engineering, that's the secret ingredient, right? It's like giving the AI these super detailed instructions to get exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, what I find really interesting is how prompt engineering is changing the way we interact with AI. It's not just giving commands anymore, it's more like a collaboration,
Hmm.
with these powerful language models to kind of unlock everything they can do. Think of it like learning to speak AI so you can guide it to get these incredible results.
Okay, so it's like we're learning the magic words to make AI do our bidding.
Mm.
But where do we even start with this? What are the fundamentals of prompt engineering?
Well, at its core, prompt engineering is all about crafting precise instructions. We call them prompts. To guide these AI models, particularly large language models, LLMs. Now, LLMs are incredibly powerful, but they need clear directions to work well. You can almost think of them as a race car with a ton of horsepower. You need a skilled driver to steer it in the right direction.
Right. So a well-crafted prompt is like giving the AI a roadmap,
hmm
helping it navigate through all this information and all these different tasks. Makes sense. But I'm curious, why is prompt engineering so important? What kind of difference does it actually make?
Well, the impact is huge, really. It directly affects how well the AI performs, how accurate its output is, and ultimately how useful and reliable it is. A well-engineered prompt, it leads to more predictable outcomes, fewer errors, and a much smoother experience for the user.
Yeah, I can see the value in that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to spend hours trying to figure out confusing AI responses or fixing mistakes. But with all this talk about crafting the perfect prompt, are there any specific challenges involved in doing this?
Oh, there are definitely challenges. One of the biggest ones is that even with all the advancements, AI still has trouble understanding the nuances and complexities of how we talk. So, crafting prompts that are clear, unambiguous, and tailored to what the AI can actually do, that's crucial.
So it's almost like we're trying to communicate with a friend who's really smart, but maybe takes things a bit too literally. We have to choose our words carefully and think ahead about potential misunderstandings.
Exactly. And that's where understanding the different types of prompts comes in. So let's start with one of the most basic but really powerful approaches, zero-shot prompting.
Zero shot. Does that mean we're asking the AI to do something without giving it any examples or training beforehand?
You got it. With zero-shot prompting, we're relying on the AI's general knowledge to understand and carry out the task. Like imagine asking, what are the primary colors? Without giving it any examples, we're trusting the AI to use its own knowledge and give us the right answer.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. But what about tasks that need more specific knowledge or a certain style of output? Can zero-shot prompting handle those too?
For that, we have few-shot prompting. That's where it really shines. In this approach, we give the AI a few examples to show it the desired output or style. It's like giving the AI a quick crash course before we let it loose on the task.
So it's like showing the AI a few paintings in a certain style before asking it to create its own masterpiece in that same style.
Exactly. Few-shot prompting allows us to fine-tune the AI's output and nudge it in a particular direction. It's especially useful when we're dealing with tasks that require creativity, specific formats, or a nuanced understanding of a certain area.
This is fascinating. So we've got zero-shot prompting for general tasks and few-shot prompting for things that need more specialized knowledge or style. What other types of prompting techniques are out there?
Well, there's one that's really interesting. It mimics how humans break down complex problems. Chain of thought prompting.
Chain of thought prompting. It sounds like we're guiding the AI through a step-by-step thought process.
That's exactly it. Instead of just asking for an answer directly, we break the task down into smaller, more manageable steps. This helps the AI understand the reasoning behind the solution and often leads to more accurate and insightful results.
So instead of asking the AI to write a whole marketing plan, for example,
Yeah.
we might break it down into steps like figuring out the target audience, developing key messages, and then outlining the specific marketing channels. That way, the AI can tackle each part in a systematic way.
Exactly. It's like we're giving the AI a set of mental scaffolding to help it build a more solid and well-reasoned response. And speaking of robust responses, there's another fascinating technique called tree of thought prompting.
Tree of thought prompting. Is that like planting an idea and watching it grow into a complex solution?
It's even more intriguing than that. Imagine a tree with lots of branches, each one representing a different line of reasoning. Tree of thought prompting encourages the AI to explore various paths, weigh different perspectives, and then finally arrive at a solution that's well justified and nuanced.
So it's like we're encouraging the AI to have its own internal debate. considering all sides of an issue before it reaches a conclusion. That's incredibly powerful.
It is. It really is. It lets us tap into the AI's ability to process information and generate insights in a way that's similar to how humans think critically. Now, let's say you're working on a project and you need the AI to refine its output based on your feedback. That's where iterative refinement comes in.
Iterative refinement. Sounds like we're working together with the AI to make its responses better over time.
Got it. With iterative refinement, we can give feedback on what the AI initially produces, ask for specific improvements, and guide it towards a more polished and accurate result.
So it's like having a back and forth with the AI, right?
Yeah.
Gradually shaping its output until it's exactly what we need. This is all incredibly insightful, but how do we actually use these different prompting techniques in real life? Like, I'd love to see some real-world examples of how this works in different departments.
Of course. That's where the starter prompt pack is really helpful. It gives you tons of examples of how different departments can use prompt engineering to streamline tasks, make things more efficient, and even uncover new insights. For example, let's look at how a marketing team might use prompt engineering to boost their campaigns.
Okay, let's see some real-world applications. I'm really interested to see how these techniques translate into actual results.
Let's say the marketing team, they want to develop this data-driven plan, to continuously improve their campaigns. They could try using a prompt like this from the starter prompt pack. It says, role, marketing analyst, instruction. Create a plan to continuously improve marketing campaigns. Steps, including data analysis, testing new techniques, and adjusting strategies based on results. End goal, to enhance campaign performance and maximize ROI. Narrowing, focus on data-driven decisions.
Wow, that's so specific. It's like giving the AI a super detailed job description. It even tells it to focus on those data-driven decisions, which is so important for any good marketing strategy, right? I bet using something like that saves a ton of time and effort compared to just brainstorming everything manually.
Absolutely. And it makes sure the AI considers all the important parts of campaign optimization. Now, let's switch gears a bit and think about finance. Imagine you have a budget analyst who needs to create a budget specifically for cash flow management. The prompt pack gives this example. Role, budget analyst, instruction. Create a budget specifically for cash flow management. Steps, including setting targets for cash inflows and outflows and developing action plans. End goal, to proactively manage cash flow. Narrowing, focus on a rolling 12-month budget.
This is great. It's like having an AI assistant that can crunch all those numbers and create these detailed financial plans. I'm curious, does the AI actually have access to real-time financial data to use when it's making the budget?
That's where things get really interesting. While the AI itself doesn't have direct access to live data feeds, it can be connected to other systems or given relevant data sets to make sure its output is accurate and current. The prompt is like the guide for the AI to process that information and generate useful insights.
So it's like giving the AI all the ingredients in the recipe to make a great financial plan. What about customer service? I imagine prompt engineering could play a big part in improving how we interact with customers.
Definitely. Think about all those repetitive tasks customer service reps deal with every day. Prompt engineering can automate a lot of those, freeing up agents to deal with the more complex issues. Take this example. Role, customer service representative, instruction. Develop templates for responding to common customer inquiries. Steps, including clear messaging, professional tone, and relevant information. End goal, to ensure consistent and efficient responses. Narrowing, focus on email templates.
This is so smart. It's like having an AI write those personalized responses to common questions, which helps keep things consistent and efficient across the board. I can also see how this would help keep a consistent brand voice and tone, even with a large team of agents.
Precisely. And it can even help find patterns in customer inquiries, so the company can address potential problems beforehand or improve their products and services. Now, let's move into the world of IT and technology. Prompt engineering is changing how IT professionals manage infrastructure and security.
Okay, I'm ready to be amazed. How can prompt engineering help IT teams stay ahead of the curve in such a fast-changing tech world?
Take this example from the pack. Role, IT manager, instruction. Develop a plan for the company's network infrastructure. Steps, including network design, equipment requirements, and security protocols. End goal, to ensure reliable and secure connectivity for the business. Narrowing, focus on the remote worker setup.
Wow, so the AI can actually help design secure and efficient networks, especially for remote workers, which has become so essential these days. I'm curious, though, with all these amazing applications, are there any limits to prompt engineering? Are there tasks that just can't handle?
That's a great question. While prompt engineering has come a long way, it's important to remember AI is still developing. There are definitely some paths that require that human touch. Intuition, creativity, or making those complex decisions. Those are things AI might struggle with.
So it's not a magic solution, but it's a powerful tool that can boost our abilities and free us up to focus on more strategic things. That makes sense. But even with well-written prompts, there's still a chance for errors or unexpected results, right? How do we make sure what the AI produces is reliable and accurate?
That's where the real skill of prompt engineering comes in. It's about constantly refining our prompts, trying different approaches, and evaluating the AI's output to make sure it's meeting our needs. Think of it like an ongoing conversation with the AI, where we learn to communicate more effectively and steer it towards those better results.
So it's about learning to talk to the AI in a way it understands, understanding its strengths and weaknesses, and making our prompts better over time to really unlock its potential. This is all incredibly insightful. But I'm curious, what are some techniques for writing better prompts? Are there any tips or tricks to get the most out of these AI models?
Oh, there are definitely some best practices that can turn you into a prompt engineering pro. One technique is to clearly define the role you want the AI to take on. Like, instead of just asking for information, you might say, "You are a financial advisor. Provide 3 investment recommendations based on the following criteria."
Oh, so it's like giving the AI a specific persona to play, which helps it focus its responses and use the right knowledge. That's a clever trick. What other techniques can we use?
Clarity is also super important. Be very clear about what you want the AI to do. Instead of just asking for a summary, tell it how long it should be, the format, the level of detail. It's like giving clear instructions to someone on your team. The more specific, the better the outcome.
Like writing a detailed project brief for the AI, right?
Right.
Outlining everything and leaving no room for confusion. Makes sense. What about giving context?
Providing context is crucial. You need to give the AI everything it needs to do the job well. Don't assume it knows background information or remembers past interactions. Think of it like setting the stage for the AI. Give it the necessary background and information to play its role effectively.
So painting a clear picture for the AI so it understands all the details and gives us more accurate and insightful responses. What about avoiding things like contradictions or illogical requests? I imagine that could really confuse the AI.
Yeah. You're right. You absolutely have to make sure your instructions are logical and consistent. Asking the AI to summarize a complex topic in 20 words and then also wanting multiple references and citations, that's just setting it up for failure. Think of it like giving the AI a solvable puzzle. If the pieces don't fit logically, it can't put together a coherent solution.
Right. It's like giving it a broken compass and expecting it to find its way. It just won't work.
Yeah.
What about really complex tasks that have multiple steps or need a specific structure? How do we guide the AI effectively in those situations?
That's when breaking down the task into smaller, more manageable steps is so important. It's like creating a detailed outline or a flow chart for the AI to follow. This helps it process everything systematically and ensures each step builds logically on the one before it.
So instead of asking it to write a whole marketing plan, we might break it down into things like identifying the target audience, developing those key messages, outlining the marketing channels, and then creating a budget. This way, the AI can tackle each part step by step and create a more coherent and well-structured plan.
Exactly. It's like giving the AI a blueprint to guide the whole construction process, making sure the final product meets all the requirements and specifications.
This has been incredibly insightful. But how do we know if our prompts are actually working? How do we evaluate what the AI is doing and make sure we're getting the most out of these powerful language models?
That's a crucial question. Evaluating the AI's output is just as important as creating the initial prompts. There are several ways we can do this. One is to just look at the quality of the AI's output. Is it accurate, relevant, well-organized, and meeting our expectations?
So it's like checking the AI's homework, basically, making sure it understood the assignment and did a good job. What other ways are there to evaluate it?
Another good method is to compare the AI's output to what an expert in that field would produce. This can help us spot any biases, knowledge gaps, or areas where the AI needs more guidance.
Like having a teacher grade the AI's work,
Right.
right? Providing feedback and insights to help it improve. Are there any more, I guess, quantitative ways to measure how effective the AI is?
Absolutely. We can use things like metrics to evaluate the AI's performance, things like accuracy, speed, creativity, even the level of engagement its output generates. All of those can be measured and tracked over time.
So it's not just about subjective opinions. We can actually use data to track the AI's progress and find areas to work on. This is really fascinating, but I'm wondering, with all the rapid changes in AI, Are there any emerging trends or new frontiers in prompt engineering that we should know about?
That's a great question. Prompt engineering is a constantly changing field with new techniques and approaches popping up all the time. One really interesting development is something called retrieval augmented generation, or RG for short.
RG. Sounds like something you'd use to clean up a messy AI experiment. But seriously, what is RG all about?
Imagine giving the AI access to this enormous external knowledge base. RG combines techniques for finding information with powerful language models, letting the AI pull relevant information from outside sources when it's answering prompts.
So instead of only using its own knowledge, the AI can now tap into a wealth of external information, like a superpowered research assistant with access to the whole internet. That's incredible. Can you give us an example of how REG would be used in real life?
Sure. Let's say you ask the AI a question about a specific historical event. With RAG, the AI can search through tons of relevant documents, historical records, online databases, even up-to-the-minute news feeds to gather the most current and complete information. And then it uses all that to formulate its response.
It's like having an AI historian that can check its knowledge against a huge library of sources, making sure its answers are accurate, well-informed, and based on real-world evidence. I imagine REG could be especially helpful for tasks that need really specific factual information or insights from a lot of different sources.
You're absolutely right. It's transforming fields like journalism, research, legal analysis, any area where accuracy and having a lot of knowledge are really important.
This is really amazing. We've covered so much in this deep dive, from the basics of prompt engineering to advanced techniques like RAG. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the power and potential of these AI language models. But before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts on what all of this means for our listeners. What's the key takeaway they should remember from this discussion?
Well, the key takeaway, I think, is that prompt engineering, it's not just a technical skill, it's a way of thinking, you
Yeah.
know? It's about understanding how to communicate with AI, using its strengths, and guiding it to do some pretty incredible things. If you can master this art of crafting effective prompts, well, you can unlock the true potential of AI and use it as a powerful tool for creativity, for problem solving, for innovation, in any field, really.
It's like shifting how we see AI, right?
hmm
From this mysterious black box to a partner we can work with. We learn to speak its language and guide it towards goals we both share. But with all this potential, are there any downsides or risks with prompt engineering that we need to be aware of? Could this technology be misused or have unintended consequences?
That's a really important question. Like any powerful tool, prompt engineering can be misused. We have to be careful. One concern is bias. If the data used to train those AI models has biases in it, those biases can show up in the AI's output, even if we write perfect prompts.
So it's like giving the AI a map that's wrong,
Yeah.
right? Which could lead to biased or unfair results. Even if that's not what we intended, that's a serious issue. How can we reduce these risks and make sure prompt engineering is used ethically and responsibly?
That's where ongoing research and development are so important. Researchers are working on ways to detect and fix biases in these models, and it's crucial that we use these models carefully with critical thinking. We also need open conversations about the ethics of AI, making sure that these technologies are developed and used in a way that benefits everyone. So using this powerful technology wisely and thinking ahead, understanding both its potential and its limits, it all makes sense. But with all these advancements and potential risks, it can feel a little overwhelming, you know? For someone just starting out with prompt engineering, what advice would you give them? Where should they begin? The best way to start is to just try it out. There are lots of free AI tools available online. See what you can do. Create prompts for different tasks, play around with various techniques, see how the AI responds. It's like learning a new language. The more you practice, the better you get.
So embrace that curiosity, be playful, dive in and experiment with these models. I like that approach. Are there any specific resources or communities you'd recommend for someone who's new to prompt engineering?
Oh, there are some fantastic online communities dedicated to prompt engineering. People share tips and tricks. They even work together on projects. The OpenAI Cookbook is a great resource for practical examples and techniques. And Google Cloud's Prompt Engineering for AI Guide gives a more in-depth overview of the field.
Those sound like invaluable resources for anyone who wants to learn more and connect with other passionate prompt engineers. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's that one final thought you'd leave our listeners with? What's the most important thing you hope they take away from our conversation?
I hope our listeners leave feeling excited and empowered. Prompt engineering is such a powerful tool. It's changing how we interact with AI and unlocking all its amazing potential. By mastering this skill, you can be a creator, an innovator, and a real force in shaping the future of AI.
It's like realizing that the power of AI isn't limited to a select few anymore. It's open to anyone who's curious and wants to learn. We can all become those AI whisperers guiding these incredible models to do amazing things.
Exactly. It's such an exciting time to be exploring AI. And prompt engineering is right at the forefront of this whole revolution. So keep experimenting, keep learning, and who knows, you might create something incredible.
That's a perfect way to end our deep dive. My mind is already buzzing with ideas. I can't wait to put my new prompt engineering skills to use. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating look into the world of AI.